Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss one of the films called Another Earth. And never forget that I always pray for you and your family to be happy and healthy always. The film begins by introducing a beautiful teenager named Rodha. Rodha has just graduated from high school as the top student and has been accepted into the prestigious MIT program in astrophysics. Since seeing the original images of Jupiter taken by the Voyager spacecraft, Rodha has developed a keen interest in astronomy. To celebrate her success, Rodha throws a party with her friends. At midnight, Rodha heads home alone under the influence of alcohol while listening to the radio, where she learns that a scientist has discovered a blue planet with its satellite moving towards Earth. The planet is visible to the naked eye in the night sky. Intrigued, Rodha continues to observe the mysterious planet, unaware that her car is speeding, and eventually collides with a stopped car at a red light. The car is occupied by a family of 3 who were traveling, resulting in the deaths of a pregnant woman and a young child. The head of the family, a man, falls into a coma due to severe injuries. The court ultimately finds Rodha guilty of driving under the influence, causing the deaths of others. 4 years after the incident, Rodha is released from prison and is picked up by her parents and her younger brother, Jeffrey. Jeffrey shares stories about the events that occurred while his sister was in prison. The blue planet, previously discovered by astronomers, is now even closer and clearly visible through a telescope. The planet, named Another Earth, bears a 99% resemblance to Earth in terms of continents and oceans. Even the cities on the planet are identical to those on Earth. Due to its striking similarity, scientists suspect intelligent life on the planet and send radio messages, but they have yet to decipher the responses they receive. Some scientists speculate that the planet may not be real, but rather a reflection caused by cosmic mirror anomalies. Jeffrey then informs Rodha about a billionaire organizing a writing contest, where the winner will receive a trip to Another Earth. The contest seems extravagant, considering it would be more reasonable to send experienced astronomers or scientists, rather than wasting money on flying civilians with no expertise in astronomy. The conditions are quite simple. She only needs to write 500 words demonstrating that she deserves to win the competition. However, the government cannot prohibit private entities from space exploration as long as funds are not an issue, making space travel easily accessible. Rodha feels estranged in her own room. The room is filled with memories from her school days, and due to the accident 4 years ago, Rodha had to let go of her dream of becoming an astronomer. Rodha decides to turn her attic into her new room. Nevertheless, Rodha maintains her interest in astronomy, including her curiosity about Another Earth. The next morning, Rodha goes to the Department of Employment seeking a job, given her status as a Class II citizen and a former convict. Rodha is willing to do any job, however she prefers one that doesn't require her to interact with many people. The officer understands, offering her a job as a cleaning service at West Haven High School, where she used to attend. Whether by coincidence or not, Rodha seems to be reliving memories of her past, yet she appears to enjoy her job. After finishing work, Rodha strolls around while enjoying the view of Another Earth. She eventually arrives at the location of the accident 4 years ago. Shortly after, a man arrives, stops by the roadside, and places a toy under a lamppost. Upon seeing him, Rodha immediately remembers that the man is from the family she collided with. Curious, she decides to find out more about the man, who turns out to be a renowned composer named John Burrow. After the accident, John fell into a coma and underwent extended hospitalization. It seems that Rodha cannot escape the shadows of her past, as deep down she may still harbor guilt towards the family. Rodha then notes down John's address and visits his house, which is quite a distance away, requiring a 2-hour journey. Initially, Rodha intends to apologize in person, but changes her mind upon seeing John asleep behind the window. Ridden with guilt, Rodha walks away, gradually taking off her clothes. The cold night leads Rodha to experience hypothermia, and she faints. Fortunately, someone finds her and takes her to the hospital. After returning home, Rodha begins to try writing. Her love for astronomy, combined with the mixed feelings of sadness and guilt, leads Rodha to pour her heart into her writing. Day by day, Rodha diligently works to forget her past, but the shadows of guilt still linger in her mind. Until one day, Rhoda finally gathers the courage to meet John. However, when she is about to confess that she was the fatal hit-and-run driver 4 years ago, Rhoda suddenly changes her mind. Instead, she shifts her focus by stating that she represents Maid Heaven, a cleaning service company, and is conducting a full-day free trial service. John then asks why she came all the way here, considering the 2-hour distance from her workplace. Rhoda explains that the competition is fierce, and she is willing to go far to gain potential customers. Since the death of his wife and child, John has been living alone and neglecting the cleanliness of his house. Despite the mess, Rhoda works exceptionally well, and towards the evening John asks her to stop cleaning. Before saying goodbye, John inquires if Rhoda will come again next week because he seems pleased with her work. Rhoda cannot promise and says that maybe next week the company will send someone else to this place. Upon arriving home, Rhoda is not at peace. Instead, she becomes even more distressed. Throughout the night, she practices apologizing. Finally, 1 week later, Rhoda returns to John's house. John looks happy and asks her to continue cleaning the house. However, before starting, Rhoda wants to convey something important. Still, John is not in the mood to talk and goes to his room. While cleaning unintentionally, Rhoda sees a photo of John's wife and child, and tears well up in her eyes. Throughout the day, she observes John isolating himself in his room, as if the zest for life has left him. After finishing work, John gives Rhoda a check, but instead of accepting it as money, Rhoda tears the check, feeling unworthy of receiving it. From that moment on, Rhoda has a regular schedule of cleaning John's house, and she often finds John in a drunken state. Upon returning home, Rhoda, along with her family, watches the live broadcast of the first contact with Another Earth. The broadcast features a Q&A session between the communication heads of Earth-1 and Earth-2, revealing that they have the same names, birth dates, and live in the same city. However, when asked about childhood memories, there are slight differences, indicating that Earth-2 may have a different reality from Earth-1. Scientists also try to figure out why there can be differences in reality, despite the numerous similarities observed before. This fact leads people worldwide to wonder if the inhabitants of both planets could visit each other and meet their counterparts. The question arises, do the inhabitants of Earth-2 have a different fate than those of Earth-1? Like everyone else, John and Rhoda are also curious about these possibilities. John takes out his old telescope to observe Earth-2, and Rhoda wonders if her counterpart on Earth-2 is currently cleaning the house. John laughs at the idea, and then he invites Rhoda to play a game with him. They become close friends due to their shared interests. On that cold night, John doesn't want Rhoda to walk alone to the station, so he offers her a ride home. Along the way, they discuss the existence of Earth-2 and all its similarities. They speculate on what they would say if they met their other selves. Rhoda expresses her hope that her other self is luckier and has a better life than she does. John asks if Rhoda has any problems, but she quickly changes the subject as they arrive home. After reaching home, John apologizes for not remembering Rhoda's name, as he has become forgetful since leaving the hospital. Rhoda doesn't mind because, since their first meeting, she has never told him her name. The next day, Rhoda returns to work at the school. While sweeping the floor, an elderly man who also works with her notices her somber face. The old man advises Rhoda to clear her mind and learn to accept herself. Meanwhile, scientists begin simulating calculations for a journey to Earth-2. The distance between the two planets is not that far, making it very possible to travel there. It is worth noting that Earth-2 appears 3 to 4 times larger than the Moon. Earth itself is 3.5 times the size of the Moon. Based on this size comparison, Earth-2 has a similar distance to Earth as the Earth to the Moon. This means that they would only need about 4 to 7 days to reach the planet. Since having a regular working schedule at John's house, John and Rhoda have grown closer to each other. Gradually, John's interest in Rhoda starts to surface as she tells stories about the first cosmonaut to set foot in outer space. Nevertheless, Rhoda is a smart student and has the ability to captivate someone just by sharing her stories. When she came back to clean up, John asked if Rhoda had washed the sweater in his room. The sweater belonged to his late wife, and he deliberately left it dirty as a memento. Rhoda apologizes, explaining that she was unaware of its significance. John becomes angry and asks her to leave. Meanwhile, on the radio, news about conspiracy theories regarding Earth 2 starts to emerge. Some suggest that Earth 2 is a mirror of Earth 1. The theories speculate on potential consequences if they were to attack Earth 2, assuming a mirrored response. Some wonder if Earth 1 is referred to as Earth 2 there, or if Earth 1 is a planet moving closer to Earth 2. The next day at work, Rhoda inquires about the old man, and she is informed that he intentionally blinded himself with bleach after leaving his job. The old man blinded himself because he was tired of seeing himself everywhere. After work, John comes to Rhoda's house, apologizing for his outburst the previous day. He acknowledges that Rhoda was just doing her job. He then invites Rhoda to a performance and treats her to the best seat, presenting a composition he recently created. Remarkably, John plays the composition using a slightly bent piece of sawed wood. Listening to it, Rhoda's imagination soars into outer space. It's no wonder people consider John an extraordinary composer. After the performance, John takes Rhoda home, and their relationship deepens. That night, John expresses his feelings, stating that Rhoda has brought peace into his life. The following day, Rhoda visits the old man, who feels a great loss as he used to accompany her while working at the school. After returning from the hospital, Rhoda receives a surprise. Space Venture has chosen her as the contest winner. The billionaire behind the contest was deeply moved by Rhoda's writing. He asks if Rhoda still wants to fly into space, and she enthusiastically agrees because traveling to space is everyone's dream. Rhoda then meets John that evening, informing him that she won the contest to go to Earth 2. John is delighted, and he plans a small celebration for Rhoda. They start speculating on whether Rhoda can return to Earth 1 after her journey. This worries John, who has developed feelings for Rhoda. John asks Rhoda to reconsider going to Earth 2, hoping she will stay by his side, as her presence has brought color to his life. Rhoda, however, doesn't give an immediate answer, because there's something she has wanted to share for a long time. If John still desires her after hearing her story, she is willing to stay. Initially, Rhoda came to apologize for being the reckless teenager responsible for the accident that took John's family by surprise. However, as their relationship grew, the guilt she felt deepened. Rhoda didn't want any lies in their relationship, and she bravely decided to tell John the truth. Hearing her honesty, John recalls the accident and asks Rhoda to leave his house. That same night, the television media broadcast news that they had found the winner's home of the contest to Earth 2. In short, reporters gathered in front of Rhoda's house, questioning whether she would indeed go there. Both of her parents were surprised by the news, as Rhoda had never shared it with them. Rhoda then watched an interview with a scientist on TV who theorized that the Earth 2 replica might have resulted from cosmic anomalies or possibly originated from another universe. As a reflection of Earth, Earth 2 might have a life similar to Earth. However, if there were slight variable occurrences where someone from Earths 1 and 2 became aware of each other, everything could change. The closer the planets got, the more people became aware of each other, potentially disrupting the similarity in their realities. It's like someone having a perfect duplicate that suddenly shatters, becoming a different reality. This is similar to what happened during the first contact between Earth 1 and 2, where there were slight differences in past memories. The new reality experienced by one person would subsequently influence the reality of others, especially those close to them. This is why scientists believe that there is a possibility of differing realities between Earth 1 and 2. After hearing this news, Rhoda goes to John's house. She tells him that she just heard a theory on TV that the realities of Earth 1 and 2 might differ. 4 years ago, during the accident, Earth 2 had already been discovered long before it could be seen with the naked eye. As scientists have stated, if both worlds become aware of each other, the synchronization of realities between them could be disrupted, meaning there is a possibility that her counterpart there had a different life path before the accident. There is a significant chance that her family is still alive on Earth 2. Rhoda hopes John forgives her and then offers him the flight ticket so that he can go to Earth 2 to reunite with his family. One day before the departure, John holds a press conference, feeling privileged to have the opportunity to visit Earth 2. Rhoda, who also watches the broadcast, is delighted, and finally, after a long time, she feels peace in her heart. 4 months later, as Rhoda returns from work, she finds a woman standing in her front yard who turns out to be herself, and the film concludes. The ending of this film indicates that the director intentionally left the conclusion open, meaning the director allows the audience to draw their own conclusions. What happens to John on Earth 2, or what will happen to Rhoda on Earth 1, is left to the interpretation of the viewers. Overall, the film tells the story of Rhoda, who deeply regrets her actions. The emergence of Earth 2 can also be interpreted as a symbol that every human being has a second chance. Upon deeper examination of the film, John's journey to Earth 2 to meet his family might be something he didn't necessarily need to do. This suggests the impression that John has not fully come to terms with the departure of his wife and child, even though that event truly occurred in the reality of Earth 1. And that's it for the story series of this film. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to support this channel by subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video. Goodbye.